शङ्करं रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आदित्यहृदयं पुण्यं सर्वशत्रुविनाशनं जयावहं जपेन्नित्यम् akṣayyaṃ paramaṃ śivam. So here is a question. In Upasana, I was talking of 3 stages. So in the 3rd stage, the devotee is like a sugar candy put into the waters of Ganga and so merges in the Ganga. So only Ganga remains. That is Advaita. In Upasana, you have a division between Upasaka and Upasya. The devotee vis-a-vis the God. That kind of a provisional division is admitted because to make Upasana possible. So that is how the Upasana begins, a provisional division. That too, Shankara calls it Yatkinchit Bhedam, a little division. Because that is how you experience, you identify yourself with the body mind and you take yourself to be a limited person. And therefore the God appears as the other. And therefore admitting that division provisionally, not finally. If you admit it finally, you become a Dvaiti. Admitting it provisionally to make Upasana possible, so that is how we start the journey. Because the devotee is not yet aware of the oneness. He still feels the division. Therefore, you have to start the journey from where you are. You cannot start the journey ahead of where you are. Therefore, that is how the journey starts. The first stage and second stage are covered. And now you come to the 3rd stage where the division is dismissed or negated. Therefore, in the first stage and second stage it is Upasana, and by the time it becomes the 3rd stage it is Jnanam, flip-flop. So that is how it is understood. Now the word ādityahṛdayaṃ. So generally what I noticed as I teach here and there, I come across many students of Vedanta. And not that I ask the questions to them and try to find out how much they have studied, etc. I don't do any such things. But as I interact with the students of Vedanta, and sometimes even more so with the acharyas of Vedanta, so I notice that the understanding of Vedantic cosmogony is not proper, is not complete. So how this creation came, where from it originated from the Brahman, but how it originated, what is the process that you describe in the Upanishads and that is called Vedantic cosmogony. And people are not very clear about this Vedantic cosmogony. Unless you put your mind to it and settle every single aspect of the cosmogony, that remains uncertain or vague. So that is how the acharyas also remain vague, and what to speak of the students. So here is an occasion to understand the Vedantic cosmogony properly. And the occasion is the word ādityahṛdayaṃ. That word contains the entire vision of Vedantic cosmogony. You see, the cosmogony means the process of creation. It is visualized based on one's own experience. So there is a statement you must have heard, yat pindande tad brahmande. Whatever is in this body mind, there is life also, and then there is the awareness, Atma. That is what it is. And whatever is here, whatever is happening here, The same thing happens at the level of the cosmos. Therefore, here how it is happening, first matter, then energy, and then intelligence. Is that the sequence? No, that is not the sequence. When you wake up, in sleep there is nothing. Sleep is nothing. The experience of nothingness, that is sleep. Now you wake up. When you are fully awake, there is matter, body, there is life, prana, energy, and there is intelligence, understanding is there. So all the things are there. But what is the sequence? How do you get into that pindanda in which all the elements of intelligence, power, and matter are present? How do you arrive at? So you wake up. It is called waking up. Waking up means becoming aware. That is the word waking. Jagrat. Jagrat is becoming aware. That is the intelligence. And then life, prana, you start moving. And as the movement is, the movement comes with the physical matter also. So that is the sequence. You look at your own waking up. You become intelligent or you become awareful. Then you start moving. That is the prana, power. So you feel that power. And then you come to the body. That is the sequence. So intelligence leads to power or associated with power. That leads to the matter. This is nicely described in the Upanishads, etc. It is not in one place. It is distributed in the literature. But Swami Vivekananda has put it in one place. Shankaracharya doesn't do any such thing. He just explains the Upanishadic mantras as they appear, as they come. He doesn't put things together for you. You have to put things together for yourself. Therefore, you begin with the universe has its origin in the Brahman, which is intelligence, Chetanam Brahma. And from that intelligence arises the power, the universal power, which is again Brahma. It is Brahma. It is like an ornament. So how do you make an ornament? You start with gold, nuggets, let us say, and then melt it and put it into a mold, and that becomes the ornament. Similarly, the Brahman, intelligence, gets associated with the power. The power comes from Brahman only. The power is called Shakti, Maya Shakti. The power is universal power, the cosmic power. Therefore, the origin of the cosmos, namely the Brahman, now gets associated with the power, cosmic power, and then comes the universe from that power. So that is the sequence. And that universal power, which is the origin of this entire universe, is called Aditya. And the Kathopanishad is where these things are presented very clearly in simple terms, and their bhashya is also very simple. So, ya pranena sambhavatyaditir devatamayi guham pravishya tishtantim. So, etadvaitat. Guham pravishya tishtantim. So, ya bhutebhir vyajayata. Etadvaitat. Etadvaitat means, hey Nachiketa, whatever you are asking about, that is this only. What is that? So, ya pranena sambhavati aditihi. Aditihi is the cosmic power. Okay? You see, you look at the universe, when you look at the universe, what you see is the entire universe is simply the display of power which is manifested. Aditihi, the power manifested. And the manifestation is Devatamayi. So that power is manifested in diverse ways, in its diversity. So, therefore, the power becomes the symbol of God. The universal power is the symbol of God, because God, the Brahman, is associated with that power, omnipotent and also omnipresent. The power alone manifested as this entire universe, and therefore it is the universal power, omnipotent, manifested in its diversity and hence omnipresent. And it is the controlling power of this entire universe. That is the Aditya. That's why the Vedic rishis worshipped that power, universal power, or the cosmic power, as the goddess Parvati or goddess Shakti. It is called Shakti, but that Shakti is associated with the Shakti is the source of movement. You see, potential energy and kinetic energy. When you look at the potential energy, you don't see anything there. You go to the upstairs, and there you have a water tank. Look into the water tank. What do you find? Water you find. But that water is associated with a tremendous potential energy. You don't see it. You see only water. But that potential energy, when it starts flowing, you see its value as kinetic energy. Therefore, Bhagavan or God with potential energy manifests as this entire universe. And therefore, that Parvati, the Parvata, is the Brahman, and the manifest form of that power is that which comes out of Parvata. That is Parvati, associated with the changeless. Therefore, all change happens or begins in the changeless. Parvata stands for the changeless, and the power stands for the changeful. The potential becomes the kinetic. That is the way you have to understand. Therefore, this entire universe is the product of that omnipotent and omnipresent universal power. And you can convert that power into a deity, devata, and worship. That is how there is the Shakti worship in India. Aditya. And the word Aditya comes from Aditi. So first you understand Aditi, then you have understood Aditya. Because Aditi has manifested in its diversity, and one of the manifestations is the solar orb. That's why it becomes Aditya. Primary manifestation is the solar orb of that universal power. You see, that power, universal or cosmic, is worshipped in India as the Devata Shakti. That is how the Shakti worship is very popular. But then sometimes the wealth is considered as power. Wealth is power in its own way. Therefore, some people started worshipping that power as wealth. That is the goddess Lakshmi. And then knowledge is power too. Therefore, some people were started worshipping that power as the knowledge. That is goddess Saraswati. These are all the personifications, symbolic personifications. And if you understand the personification, the symbolism associated with it, it looks very beautiful. But if you do not understand the symbolism, no idea of the cosmogony properly, and then take all these manifested power as so many ladies sitting somewhere above. So that is how the popular religion takes this worship. There are 3 ladies above. And they sometimes meet with each other also. And they are jealous of each other also. So where from this jealousy has to come? From the human society only it has come. Right? And so once I met a poet. The poet described in a poem the meeting of Parvati and Lakshmi. Parvati is ridiculing, Lakshmi starts ridiculing Parvati. So your husband, how are you living with him? All dust around him, and going near is also a problem. Like that, Lakshmi says. Then Parvati ridicules. Parvati gives a retort. Yeah, dust or whatever, he is at least loyal to me. You cannot say the same thing with your, something like that. That is what the poet wrote a poem. Then I told him, don't write such a poem. Do you understand the symbolism associated with Lakshmi and Parvati? He doesn't know. You don't know the symbolism. It is the same cosmic power. One aspect is worshipped as goddess Lakshmi. another aspect as Saraswati, another aspect as Shakti. It is the same cosmic power, Aditi. You don't know the details of it, the cosmogony, you don't have the energy to study it, the enthusiasm. Just take three women and look around the women around. Whatever qualities you see in these women around you, the same qualities you apply to those women. This is how the religion becomes a laughing stock. Don't do this kind of poetry. Now the public, general public, they are very thrilled by this poetry. Oh, and now they believe that there are three ladies above. And so now sometimes you worship this lady, some other times you worship that lady. It ends up like that. Do you like it? That part. Therefore, it is the universal power, which is Aditi. And this Aditi, the Upanishad says it as Devata-mayi. You understand Aditi? Once you understand Aditi, the word Aditya you will understand. And then Hṛdayam you have to connect. So this Aditi, Devata-mayi, that is the Upanishad. Shankara says sarva-devatātmika. So the cosmic power manifests in the form of all devatas. What are the devatas? Prithvi devata. Matter, solid. Solid matter is a manifest form of that universal power. Prithvi devata. Apo devata, liquid is also the manifest form of that cosmic power. Āyurvardhanamuttamam, gas, is also manifest form of that cosmic power. Then heat, Agnihi. Among all these manifest forms, Agnihi is the most favored by the rishis. There are so many manifest forms, but Agnihi is the most favored. It is like you compare with electricity. This electricity is an example quite often used. And so, of all forms of electricity manifested into a lot of diversity, among all those forms of electricity, which is the most important one in winter? Heat, something like that. Agnihi. So Agnihi is the most potent and very tangible, readily relatable form of that universal power. And therefore they started worshipping that Brahman or Aditi. Aditi is same as Brahman, etadvaitat. That Aditi, they have started manifesting, worshipping in the fire god, as fire god, Nirdevata. Then Akasha is not so important. So then the sun. Sun is Suryo Devata. Therefore, Aditi manifests as the sun, Aditya. And also Aditi manifests as the moon, but not so important. After the first altar, the foremost altar to worship the universal power is Agni, and the next altar to worship the universal power is Āditya. In the Vedic literature, it came like that. Therefore, Aditi means, so Āditya means that which has originated from the Aditi. That is Āditya. You see, there is a story. There was a rishi called Kashyapa. You must have heard this story. And he is married to two women. Their names are Aditi and Diti. This story you must have heard. It comes from Puranas. So, you see, Kashyapaha, that is the name of the rishi. Kashyapa Pashyako Bhavati. Who is this Kashyapa? Pashyaka is the Kashyapa. You reverse Pashyakaha. This word Pashyakaha is very Vedic in nature. You cannot derive it based on Panini. You have to go by Niruktam. Pashyati iti Pashyaha. Pashyati iti Pashyaha. Panini it becomes a Drashta. Whereas in Vedic Niruktam, Pashyaha. Pashyah Pashyate Rukmavarnam. You must have seen that Vakya in Mundakopanishad. So, Pashyaha means the one who sees. Seeing is knowing. That awarefulness, Atma, Yah pashyati, sapashyati. So that is the rishi, means intelligence. Pashyakaha is the intelligence personified. To hide it, reverse it. The reverse. This reverse also sometimes. So in our childhood we used to talk this language among friends. Rama comes. In Telugu, Rama comes. Rama is called Mara. Mara is Rama. Reverse. So the Pashyakaha you reverse, it becomes Kashyapaha. Means the intelligence. Now the intelligence, that is the Rishi, personification. The symbolic story. Good symbolic, good story it is. He is married to two women. Woman stands for power. Shakti. Why Shakti is woman? Because Strilinga Shabda it is. Panini's Sutram, Striyam Ktin. Wherever you have that ti, that becomes Strilinga. Therefore, that's why woman. And now the Shakti is one and also many. One Aditi, not many. One potential energy. One without the second. Aditi. Many manifest form. Diti. Okay. Also Aditi is Advaita. Diti is Advaita. Right? So you take multiple forms, manifest forms, as though separate, that becomes Ditihi. No, forms are many, but the Vastu is one, that is Aditihi. Now, the Rishi married these two women and they gave birth to children. All the children of Aditi are Devatas. Aditir Devatamayi, Devatatmika by Shankara. The Aditi alone manifested as all the Devatas. Indro Devata, Agnir Devata, Vayur Devata, as I have told. Then Ditihi is there, Dvaita. And she gave birth to Rakshasas. You know that? Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakshaha means a greedy person. His eyesight, his sight is always focused on gold. That's why people should not go after gold. You become one with Hiranyaksha, always looking towards gold. Even Swamis, they go for gold. They should not do that. They say Hiranyavarnam, Harinim, they start like that. That is not for Swamis. That is a different thing. And it is Khelam also. It is not part and parcel of the original Rigveda. But people want gold and silver. That's why they go for Hiranya, that Suktam. It is full of gold and silver only. Hiranyavarnam, Harinim, Suvarnarajatasrajam. Having a mala in the neck, srak, consisting of gold and silver. Kya baat hai? Anyway, so the Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Now you understand Hiranya. How the Hiranya is placed. It is placed with the Rakshasas. Hiranyaksha, the one who is focused. Aksha is seeing focus on gold. And Hiranyakashipu, one who uses the gold for pleasures. And so Hiranyaksha is the one who accumulates gold, the brother, elder brother. And Hiranyakashipu is the younger brother who enjoys all that gold in the form of pleasures. They are the sons of Diti, Dvaita. Okay? Now, forget about this is the symbolism associated with it. But in India, we have an elaborate religious sect based on this story. So Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, killed by, so like that it goes on. Killed means they take it literally, somebody killing somebody else. How do you like it? There is a Rakshasa who is almost as powerful as God, and God has to come down from above, descend to kill the Rakshasa in particular. How do you like that story? Are you okay with that story? If you are okay with that story, you are now part and parcel of the popular religion, the religion of the masses. But if you are not okay with that story, means you are now started thinking. Okay? Therefore, so keep the story aside. This Aditihi Devatamayi. Etadvaitat, the Brahman which Nachiketa wanted to know, is none other than this Aditihi, the universal power, which is in the form of manifest, which is in the form of various devatas manifest before us. And now we are looking at primarily the one devata, that is the sun. And sun has a brother, like Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu are brothers. Aditya, the sun, is also have a brother. That brother is Indraha. What is Indra? Indra is the god of rains. This is India. Because in India, the social life is entirely dependent upon the monsoon rains. Rains are the lifeblood of Indian society through the ages. That's why when the monsoon is predicted, not by astrologers, by meteorologists, scientific, not astrologer prediction. Their prediction has no meaning. The scientists predict the monsoon based on various meteorological parameters, and when they predict that we are going to have good monsoon this year, like that they will predict. There are some 97 parameters or so. They do a computer model of all that parameters and give a prediction. We are expecting a good monsoon this year. For example, the current year has a good monsoon. Whenever there is a good monsoon, in the elections, the coming elections, the ruling party wins. That is the power of monsoon. And when you get the prediction that we are going to have a good monsoon, sometime in May the prediction comes. The monsoon comes May end, May 30th or so it comes to Kerala. And when the prediction comes, the stock market goes up. And if the prediction this year monsoon is doubtful, the stock market dips. That is the power of monsoon in India. And monsoon, you have to see it to believe it. People, in Kerala there is a tourism. When all the tourists from all over the world come to Kerala in the last week of May, thousands of them, and they take rooms and sitting in the hotels and rooms, etc., waiting for the monsoon to hit the Kerala coast, because it's a sight to see. The masses of clouds will come, rolling over each other, big masses of clouds, jund bolte isko. And they come, and the moment they come onto the land mass, they hit the land, they start raining, cats and dogs. That is the god of rain, Indraha. And that Indra, it is correctly said, is the brother of the sun, because it is the sun who makes the rain possible. Some of these things, if you carefully understand, you will be able to appreciate the glory of this Devata, Indro Devata, Adityo Devata, the glory. You know, the sun lifts billions of tons of water from the earth, from the oceans. He lifts that water. He purifies the salt water by evaporation and takes it into the sky. If you estimate how much water is put into the sky on a given land mass, which rains, how much water, and all that water has gone into the sky, in the form of clouds from earth, from oceans, and they calculate how much water pumping energy you will be requiring. So billions of kilowatts of energy is not enough to take all this water from the oceans, purify it, and reverse osmosis, etc., is being done directly. And all the pure water is carried high into the sky. And then it is brought and poured onto the land mass. And therefore, this is the job of two gods. One is the Aditya, another is Indra. And Aditihi has manifested as Aditya and also as Indraha, the god of rain. This is the Aditihi. And that Aditi, so all these manifest forms of energy or power, they differ only because of the upadhi. The same Aditi in the solar orb is the Devata Aditya. On the other hand, the same Aditi in the rain-bearing cloud is the Devata Indraha. Same Aditi. But Aditya and Indra, they appear different, not because they are essentially different, but because they are different only in the manifest form. That is called Upadhi. The manifest form alone is different, not the reality, not the Vastu. So that Aditi, so it is the Brahman. It is working in the opposites. It is working in the sun and also it is working in the rain god. Therefore, when you are looking at the manifest forms of that Aditi, now it depends where is your focus. If your focus is on the forms, which are the various adjuncts for the manifestation of that Aditi, if your focus is on the forms, that means you see multiplicity and variety and take it as real, then you are a samsari, you are an ajnani. But you see forms all right, but rise above the forms and arrive at the one real Aditi manifesting in multiple forms. You arrive at the one truth, then you are a jnani. Because it all depends where you are, where your focus is. As long as your focus is on the names and forms, which are so many upadhis, the adjuncts, and which are multiple and also variegated, which are multifarious, and you take all of this variety and multiplicity as real, then you are a samsari. For you, Dvaitam is the truth. Whereas the one who knows better, he dismisses all these names and forms. He arrives at the truth, the real, which is manifesting in all these names and forms. And therefore, you have to rise above the names and forms. In doing so, you arrive at the truth of oneness, which is Aditi. Okay? So, how to rise above these names and forms? So, Hṛdayam. Āditya Hṛdayam. So, the mantra says, Aditya Devatamayi, so Bhutebhir-vyajayata. That Aditi alone manifested as the Panchabhutas. Bhutebhihi bhutais saha. It manifests. Vyajayata means it take birth. Taking birth is manifesting only. It is like electricity is taking birth as light, as fan, etc. Therefore, the Aditi has manifested as all these devatas, Prithvi, Apaha, etc., including Akasha. Akasha is also a devata. Akasha is not just, Akasha is space. What is space? Space, understood in a very superficial way, is the avakasha. Akasha is avakasha, means the feasibility of keeping things. That is how space is understood. A very poor understanding of space. What is space? Space is that in which you can store pickle. What space? That is a very poor understanding of space. The real understanding of space is gravitational energy from which all other forms of energy have originated. That is space. That is the right understanding of space. And now it makes a great sense that space is also has originated from Aditi. So that is the Aditi, Devatamayi, Bhutebhihi Vyajayata. It manifested along with these bhutas, means as these bhutas, with all these forms. And Guham Pravishya Tishthantim, that is the Hṛdaya. Now, are you satisfied with the explanation of Āditya? Aditya, are you okay with it? So, now what we are doing is, we are looking at the solar orb as the manifest form of Aditi. It is not only the solar orb, the rain-bearing cloud is also Aditi, the Prithvi is also Aditi, the wind is also Aditi, the river, the ocean, the tempest, the hurricane is also Aditi, tornado is also Aditi, birth is Aditi, death is Aditi, everything is Aditi. But in this particular upasana, we confine our vision to the solar orb. In upasana, you see people worshipping, even worshipping images, they should confine themselves to one image. You worship Rama and be satisfied with Rama. You think of money, leave Rama alone and start worshipping Lakshmi. Think of enemy, forget about Rama and start worshipping some other devata. Where is your Shraddha? One Mahatma used to say, okay, you want to worship an image. By all means, you worship an image, but choose one image and worship that. That is the Shraddha. At least that much Shraddha should be there. Ramananda people, the Ayodhya people, they worship only Rama. They don't worship, even for overcoming obstacles, vignas, they worship Rama. So, contemplate upon Rama and start the job. All obstacles will go away. But what we do, when the moment the idea of obstacle comes, forget about Rama and go to Vigneshwara. And Vaishnavas have a serious objection to that. Because our religion has divided gods into parivar. Parivar is family. Now you have multiple families of gods. God families, multiple families. I don't want to give any comparison. So Vishnu Parivar, Shiva Parivar. So Ganesh Maharaj comes into Shiva Parivar. And Vishnu Parivar people cannot worship Ganesh. Therefore, they gave a thought to it. Because they are afraid of obstacles. Everybody is afraid of obstacles. In fact, everybody is afraid, whether Vishnu Parivar or Shiva Parivar. Everybody is afraid. And how to overcome these obstacles? Therefore, we have to worship a god. So which god? Vigneshwara. How can Vigneshwara be acceptable to us? We are Vishnu Parivar people. Therefore, they have come out with a god just to replace Vigneshwara, called Vishvaksena. Therefore, they worship Vishvaksena to overcome obstacles. So like this, so in one word, to put it bluntly, the multiple gods and goddesses that we worship are shaped by our desires and fears. You should rise above the desires and fears and at least start doing the upasana of one God and let that God be Aditi, the universal power, the cosmic power. And you want an altar for that worship, upasana, mental worship. And that altar is the rising sun and the setting sun, Āditya. Now you understand the word Āditya. So can I move forward? Hṛdayam. So the mantra says, so the cosmic power, it is not only manifest in the entire cosmos, but also it is manifest in your own heart. Guham pravishya tishthantim. So now suppose you want to search for electricity, where should you go? To the nuclear power plant you have to go to see the glory of electricity? Not necessary. In your home, the electricity is there. No, we are talking of the electricity which has originated in the nuclear power plant. I am telling of that electricity only. That electricity is in your home. So the universal power which is manifest as the solar orb, as the wind, as the rain-bearing clouds, as the oceans, as the rivers, as earth, as planets, as the stars, the same universal power is sitting in your heart. It has entered into your heart. Guham pravishya tishthantim. Tishthanti means stay put. That is the meaning of tishthanti. Fixed, firmly sitting in your heart. Therefore, you need not search for that universal power here and there in the outside, because it is very much within you. ādityahṛdayaṃ. Now you got it? In this regard, it is important to note a few things. Where should we start the worship of that universal power? If you call that universal power God, you can do so, and we have to worship that God. Not in a ritual sense. Here it is upasana, mental worship. So where to start this mental worship? So should we start within or should we start without? Okay. Because it is everywhere. It is everywhere. Within it is, and without also it is. Therefore, you have the options to worship that universal power in the without. Or you can worship the same universal power in the within also, because it is there in the heart as the awareful being, or as the power of life, it is there in the heart. So you can worship here, you can worship in the outside. So what should we do? Where should we start? All the people of the popular religion, the religion of the masses context, they worship in the outside. A devotee of the popular religion is always going around places, going to places in search of God. It doesn't occur to this pilgrim, it doesn't occur that the God that he is searching for is indeed within his own heart, his own or her own heart. It doesn't occur to them. That idea somehow it doesn't penetrate their head. It doesn't enter into their head. They have to go from place to place to place to place. They go to Rameshwaram and then take a train and go to Kashi. There is the Rameshwaram Kashi Express, so they take it and go there. Or start in Kashi and come to Rameshwaram. It is good for national integration. We feel like one nation. And it is good for economy. And it is very good for tourism industry. Because in India, 99% of tourism is pilgrimage-based tourism only. It is good for that. But is it good for Advaita Jnanam? I am not sure. Is it the same as the upasana that we are talking about in the Upanishadic context? I am not sure about that also. Here, the worship begins in the heart. Ramana Maharshi, etc., great Mahatmas said, first you worship God mentally in your own heart, not head. There is a head God also. When you worship a God in a ritual, are you using head or heart? You are using head. Because in the ritual, you have to follow the sequence properly. And all the protocol you have to follow. That is head only, not heart. Occasionally, some heart also may come into it. But mostly it is a head. That's why you have to move further from karma to upasana. That is, from head to heart you have to come. Karma is all head. Jaimini is all head. Vidhi. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, the devotion is of two kinds. Vaidhika, Hardika. That is the language he used. So the devotion, which is entirely based on Vidhi, the mandate, the protocol of worship, that is the Vaidhika, not Vaidika. Vaidhika, Vidhi, Vaidhika devotion. That is how we start our life, which is fine. In our childhood, we used to worship, we used to perform all kinds of rituals with a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. And to perform the ritual, you should know the protocol correctly, perfect protocol. And we used to do that. That is how we start the life. In Sri Ramakrishna's words, he said that is how the life of devotion begins, which is great. But it should graduate, it should not remain stuck there. You should progress, where you worship. Now the worship is not so much of head, it is of the heart. That becomes upasana. Therefore, now guham pravishya tishthantim. This guha has come earlier. In the mantra also you see the guha. The Aditi, the universal power, is in my heart. Therefore, you can start here and discover the universal power in the heart and then look around. You will find the same God, the same universal power in all life forms. The friend and the foe are two dipoles as far as the mind is concerned. The intellect is concerned. Friend is the opposite of foe, and foe is the opposite of friend. That is the intellect. But when you discover that universal power in your heart, now there is no division between friend and foe, because it is the same Aditi, the universal power, in the hearts of both the friend and foe. Therefore, now it is no more a friend and foe. Both are the same divinity. That is how the upasana elevates the person to the vision of oneness. All divisions are dismissed in the vision of that oneness, because the God who is in the heart, discovered first in the heart, you see the same God all around. So the recommendation is, you begin with the heart and then go out. Or you include both, within as well as without. That is Gayatri Mantra. In Gayatri Mantra, the universal power is worshipped in the solar orb and also in the heart at the same time. That is the Gayatri Mantra. Therefore, Gayatri Mantra can also be called ādityahṛdayaṃ, because it includes the solar orb as well as the human heart as the altar of worshipping mentally the universal power. So Gayatri Mantra says, Tatsavituhu varenyam bhargaha devasya dhimahi. We are contemplating upon that effulgence of the universal power, God, in the solar orb. Here you have to make a distinction. We are not sun worshippers. It is not sun worship. Sun worship means sun is the God, everything else is not God. That is Dvaita. That is pharaohs. Pharaohs were sun worshippers. And sun worship was popular in India, in Kerala. They are called Sauras. Kerala was popular. In Kerala it is popular, no surprise, because Kerala is the land of monsoon. Either you worship Indra or you worship the Surya. Monsoon is either Indra or Aditya. And so they settled with Surya. So they are called Saura, a sect. In the Vedic Hinduism, in the Vedic period, there was a sect that worshipped Saura. Ganapatya is another sect, that is in Maharashtra. They worshipped Ganapati. These are some of the sects. So Shakti is worshipped in Bengal, Shakteya. All are the same universal power, interestingly. But they ignore the multiple or the variety of manifest forms of the universal power. They don't have the vision of that oneness, and therefore they connect themselves with one particular manifestation only. That is the Dvaita there. Therefore, the Gayatri Mantra is not sun worship. It is not sun worship. You have to be very clear about it. We are not sun worshippers like pharaohs or Saura people. We worship the universal power in the altar of the sun, Aditya, and at the same time, Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. That is the second line of Gayatri Mantra. Gayatri Mantra has 3 lines, really speaking. The first line consists of 2 lines, and this is the third line, Tripada Gayatri. Okay? And the third line says, the same universal power is in the heart as the awareful being. That is the Gayatri Mantra. And the same Gayatri Mantra is incorporated in this encomium. This is the stotram, the encomium called ādityahṛdayaṃ. Therefore, that universal power which is shining brilliantly in the solar orb, that is the Aditya, is also in our heart, shining brilliantly once again as the awareful being. That is the ādityahṛdayaṃ. I finished the explanation of ādityahṛdayaṃ. Okay? So I have to take a small break. Where are we? Then puṇyaṃ, ādityahṛdayaṃ, puṇyaṃ. So, you see, in the context of the understanding of the vision of ādityahṛdaya, I have a few recommendations to make. One, people should learn to walk barefoot. You have to get connected to the earth. Not all the time. You select some time, either morning in the evening, and choose to walk barefoot. Select the path also. Don't walk everywhere barefoot, because there may be sharp pieces of stone or even thorns will be there. Then don't curse me. So you choose an appropriate place to walk barefoot, because you have to connect yourself with the earth, because the body is born from earth. You don't become celestial. The truth is you are terrestrial. And so be terrestrial. A child is terrestrial because the child takes clay and puts in the mouth. They say Sri Krishna did it. Not Sri Krishna did it. Every child does it. And every child is Sri Krishna. Okay? So that is the symbolism associated with the story. Sri Krishna taking mud and putting in the mouth. Because children are terrestrial. They play in the mud like elephants. Children, they are terrestrial. But as they grow, like we are all grown-up people, now we are not terrestrial anymore. We lost touch with the earth. We have become celestial. So even all our knowledge is also coming from the waves only, I waves. So that internet waves. So we have to reconnect with the earth. So walk barefoot a few minutes every day. And while walking barefoot, you have your focus. Keep the eyes open, you walk, you pay attention to the feet and the earth. The feet touch the earth, you know. So as the feet touch the earth one after the other, so be aware of that sense of touch of the earth with the feet. Like that you walk for some time. That becomes walking meditation. A few minutes in a small place. And then make that walk in the morning and evening time. Not in the afternoon, not in the later morning when sun becomes very bright and hot. And certainly not noon, certainly not afternoon also. It must be evening. So in Telugu we call it Niranda. Means very mild sun during the sunrise and the sunset. And allow that light to fall upon the body. Okay? It depends how you dress yourself, depends upon the weather and all that. So dress lightly. If it is a moderate weather like here, you have to dress in layers in places like Pennsylvania. In any case, you allow the warmth of the sun penetrate into your body, and you allow the light to fall upon the body. And so as you walk and as you feel the light falling upon the body, so acknowledge the sun, Aditya, as the source of all life on earth, Hṛdayam. Life is here. So the life here has its origin in Aditya, which is the universal power, symbol of universal power. Symbol, Aditya is symbol, and so you acknowledge it. So this is called Upasana. I am talking of Upasana. Upasana is, you feel it in so many, you think of it in so many words. You may not say it, but thinking is also associated with words only. So you think in so many words, and you feel, and use the words, you guide yourself into that feeling, into that thinking and that feeling. You guide yourself. Okay? So that is the Upasana. Then when you walk in the woods, you may not walk barefoot, because in the woods you cannot walk barefoot, you will hurt yourself. But when you walk in the woods, when that chance comes, when you walk in the woods, you feel that the fact of you are inhaling the air that is exhaled by the plants. So you are connected with the plants. Ya bhutebhihi yajayata, not bhutebhihi. So sakala prani, sarva, in all life forms, the Aditya is there. Therefore, Aditya is there in the plants, exhaling oxygen. And Aditya is there in the heart, inhaling oxygen. So it is the same Aditya there, same Aditya here. And the oxygen exhaled by the plants, you are inhaling. And therefore, as life, you are one with the plant life. In science, it is considered a big discovery that the cell structure in the plant tissues and the animal tissues is very similar. This was a big discovery of the 18th century when the microscope was discovered. That was the time when a microscope was discovered. Telescope was discovered first. During Galileo's time itself is discovered, but microscope was discovered much later in Germany. Max Planck Institute of Physics discovered the microscope, and then Wilhelm Kaiser Institute of Biology, or Biology and Zoology. In that institute, so scientists were working on plant and human and animal tissues. Animal includes human. And then they got this microscope. They got hold of that instrument for the first time. And they take a plant tissue, cut a piece of plant bark or even plant leaf, etc., the tissues of the plant. I don't know what they call, I am using the word tissue. Put it under the microscope and examine. And at the same time, another scientist has started examining with the same microscope the animal and human tissues. And they first recorded the plant tissues and animal tissues are structured very similarly. And then they have coined the word unit cell, like a wall is created out of bricks. All bricks are of the same size and the same type. Similarly, the entire tissue is created out of one cell, that is the unit, cell over cell over cell over cell. That is how the tissue is created. It is the same in plants and animals. This was considered an epoch-making discovery. The first time scientists made that discovery. But then the rishis had this vision all the time. Not that they have seen the tissues and all that, that is not what I am saying. They have seen the same Aditya in the plants as well as in the animal life. And therefore you can, while walking in the woods, so my recommendation is, you feel that you are inhaling the breath of the plants. That is what you are inhaling. And you can take a deep inhalation of the breath of the plants. So that is the second meditation. Then you gauge, sometimes you gauge into the space, and gazing into the space, outer space itself is a meditation. And you see the divine bodies, there the sun, moon, and you may not be able to see anything else, probably. Early morning you can see Venus close to the moon, Shukra. And if you know carefully, you can see Mars also in the night time. This time you can see Mars. And of course, you will be able to see Jupiter at a right time. So these are all the heavenly bodies. And then stars. So all of these heavenly bodies, including the stars, are the manifest form of that universal power. And so be conscious of that universal power manifesting in the form of all these heavenly bodies. And so be aware of the heavens. That is a meditation. And so this is how you can use the concept of ādityahṛdayaṃ. You can convert it into a meditation. So that is ādityahṛdayaṃ. Then we come to the word puṇyaṃ. Puṇyaṃ is a religious term, right? Puṇyaṃ is the merit. So we are now in the context of religion. Puṇyaṃ is religion, you know. So I look at the watch, please don't mind. So religion, the way the popular religion is practiced, the way masses practice religion, they practice it as a belief. They don't practice it as direct experience. So we should practice religion as a direct experience, not as a belief. So direct experience of that universal power in every particle of this universe, that you should directly experience the real behind all names and forms in the universe. That is the true religion. So I am talking of the true religion, puṇyaṃ, the true religion, in contrast to the popular religion or the religion of masses, which is entirely based on belief. So belief-based religion, its value is much less. It doesn't have much value. And if the belief becomes blind belief, then it is counterproductive also. Therefore, our religion, this is the Vedantic religion. So we practice the religion this way. It helps us, the upasana is the religion here. And here the upasana helps us to experience directly the reality behind all names and forms. Like the wind, the rain-bearing clouds, the sun, the moon, the stars. So I have given the whole list, the river, the ocean. Behind all these are all so many names and forms. The earth, the fire. Behind all these names and forms, which are called the upadhis, there is the same universal power. The one real truth is behind all these names and forms. And so you should learn to rise above these names and forms. So you see the name and form, then you see through the name and form. That is what you have to do. Not just seeing alone, seeing through the names and forms, and be in communion with the reality behind all names and forms. This is called God consciousness. You are conscious of the God in all names and forms. You should not divide people into my people, not my people, our people, not this kind of thing. Also South Indians, North Indians, Punjabis, Madrasis, you should have a rise above all these things. So somebody asked me, so many Telugu people come to your class? I said, no, I don't know. I don't know. I have never paid attention to that. Then somebody made an observation and told, most of your students are Gujaratis. That is what I was told. I was very thrilled to know that. So you should rise above these things. You should not go into this kind of silly politics, saying that you are a student of Vedanta, and at the same time talking of Gujarati, Madrasi, or Punjabi. What is this? And Indian, non-Indian, half Indian, or Anglo-Indian, or Indo-Anglic. What are all these nomenclatures? Hyphenated Indo-American, American Hindu, and Christian, this, that. You should rise above all these divisions. And you should experience the reality behind all names and forms. You should rise above these things. Friend and foe, you should rise above all that. So he is adversary to me. There is no adversary. There is no adversary. All are Atma. No, he is trying to dig a hole behind you. It doesn't matter. I bless. Doesn't matter. So there is no foe. There is no competitor. There is no adversary. There is no opponent. There is no other. All are Atma. So that is the true religion. You have to rise above all these names and forms. In fact, I insist on that. That is the true religion, puṇyaṃ. And when you do that, you will experience the springs of peace in your heart. Not only that, because now you are directly communing with that universal power, you experience that power also in your heart. And you experience a cheerfulness born out of that vision of unity of that universal power. You will remain cheerful in spite of vicissitudes of life. And also, a sense of bliss bursts forth from this vision of the universal power in all names and forms. That is the ādityahṛdayaṃ puṇyaṃ. So, and in upasana, so this is the upasana. So to begin with, you are a person separate from the universal power, but you allow this person, or even the persona, you allow that persona to merge in the universal power, because the persona has no independent existence. So you allow the small self to merge in the cosmic self. So to the extent that you become oblivious of the small self, that is the culmination of upasana. You see, what happens is you examine your consciousness. Consciousness is the movement of the mind. That is called consciousness, the waking consciousness. In that movement of the mind, you examine how is that movement. So now in that consciousness, what is the place of ego, the small self? Means how much of the ego has occupied the consciousness. For some people, it is 100% ego only. Wake up as the ego consciousness and go to sleep as the ego consciousness. All through the day, you are the ego consciousness. This is how people live. That is how the world of the worldly people are, because it is my wealth, my resources, my money, my bank account, and then my pleasure, my hunger, my food, my family, my house. This is how worldly people live. That is the egotistic consciousness. Mostly the entire consciousness is pervaded by, or it is occupied by the ego, infected by ego, entire consciousness. Rare occasions will be there now and then when you are conscious but not egotistic. Like when you laugh, you watch a movie and there is a nice comedy is there, you laugh, and in that laugh you forget yourself. Okay? There you are not egotistic. You are conscious but not egotistic. When you are happy, you are not egotistic. But when you become conscious that you are happy, that means ego has come. That becomes ego's happiness. The moment the happiness becomes ego's happiness, that puts an end to the happiness. Now you are not happy anymore. Therefore, your consciousness is happy only when it is not egotistic. And the moment the consciousness becomes egotistic, the happiness comes to an end. Therefore, there is only happiness in life. There is never my happiness. There is no such thing. It just doesn't exist. There is only happiness when there is no my. And the moment my comes, the happiness comes to an end. Effectively, it ends. Therefore, you have to understand the role being played by the egotism, the ego, and you have to the purpose of upasana, puṇyaṃ, is to arrest this ego and to reduce the pervasiveness of the ego in the consciousness. Unfortunately, in the popular religion, you are in the world making money, you are an ego. You are in the world enjoying pleasures, using that money, you are the ego. You are in the temple praying to the God, you are still the ego. That is the popular religion. In the popular religion, the ego is asserted again and again. That is not the true religion. In true religion, the asserting of ego is stopped. You stop asserting the ego. That is the true religion. In fact, you move away from the world. From the world means not that you leave Phoenix and go to Hrishikesh. That is not what I mean. You move away from the worldliness. Don't be so worldly. Don't be so devoted to wealth and pleasures. That doesn't behove students of Vedanta. That doesn't become of you. You should not do that. Move away from the worldliness. But then don't move into popular religion, where the ego is equally asserted in the popular religion also. Move into the true religion, where the ego is constantly negated. So yatkinchit bhedam, there is a little division is admitted to begin with, but eventually that division is negated. You sublate it, and you allow the ego to merge. So it is very doable. You check, if you are aware of your consciousness, it becomes very clear. I am trying to explain. So you examine to what extent the ego has overtaken the consciousness. And as you examine it, the ego loses its power. And gradually, the ego vanishes. The sannyasis are allowed the ego only at the time of bhiksha and some such basic things. At the time of bhiksha, it's not that you can come and eat in my plate and I can come and eat in your plate. Not like that. You eat in your plate, I eat in my plate. Only to that extent ego is allowed, okay? Only in bhiksha and a few similar things, things related to dehayatra, the movement of the body, the living of the body. So in that area only a provisional ego is allowed. Other than that, nowhere else the ego has a place in the consciousness. It is called egoless consciousness. You can be like that. When the consciousness becomes egoless, more or less it becomes egoless, there is bliss. Because ego is the only obstacle between the truth and yourself. You are not the ego. Therefore, that is the direction in which the upasana should move. That is called Vedantic religion, puṇyaṃ, ādityahṛdayaṃ, puṇyaṃ. So here the word puṇya, what is puṇya? The change of heart from egotism to egoless awareness or egoless consciousness. That change of heart. That is called puṇyaṃ. Puṇyaṃ is not, some people say adrushta. Adrushta means what? Adrushta, the word adrushta, when you use it, you feel as if you have used a word that you know it. It is not, adrushta means something that you do not know. You do not have a clue about it, it is called adrushta. And say adrushta and say I know it. Adrushta means you do not know it. Adrushta doesn't mean you know something about it. Therefore, this adrushta word is very misleading. Oh, it is all adrushtam. All adrushtam means you know it? Yeah, I know it is all adrushtam. You don't know. Therefore, so puṇyaṃ is not adrushtam or any such thing. Puṇyaṃ is the true religion. That is the puṇya. Change of heart. The way you think and feel, it has to undergo a radical transformation. I told you, there is no friend and there is no foe. There is only divinity. The one talking against you is also Atma. There is no enemy in this creation. All are Atma. Somebody may be very snobbish. Some people are like that. For no reason he snubs you. Still you bless him. So that is the meaning of when Jesus Christ said, somebody slaps you on the left cheek, show him the right cheek. And when somebody steals a shirt, a cloak from you, you give your shirt also to him. That means he is not an enemy. He is not the other. He is the same Atma. So you have to take the consciousness to that level. That is called puṇyaṃ. Vedantic religion it is. Also true religion. So this is ādityahṛdayaṃ puṇyaṃ. Sarvaśatru-vināśanam we will see tomorrow. This is pinching. This